Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. It's Jennifer L. Mastery. I just wanted to do a video today to talk about just how everything's going with me and things that I've noticed that I've been doing, things that I've been struggling with at this point in time. So maybe you have the same problems and maybe I can just help somebody. So I figured I would just put out this video. So the energies are so high that no matter what we do comes back so quickly. And I'm realizing that because everything that I'm doing in my own life, it's if I don't stay on that higher timeline, on that higher reality, I'm noticing that I'm dripping down to third dimension because we're vacillating back and forth. And at times I'm getting back, I guess, what I put out there, okay? Because that's what's happening. Whatever we're putting out, we're getting back. And it happens pretty quickly. So let me give you an example of that. So I'm at work. I actually, was working with my husband, and he was explaining to me that, he wanted to take a fishing trip that day. And I said, okay, that's fine. But, how about you take the kids with you? And the kid's like, well, I don't want to go on the fishing trip because, I don't want to go on the boat and I don't want to be out late and whatever it was. So I right away, got angry instead of just staying in my calm, neutral zone where I should be. Got angry and I'm like, oh no, this is not happening. I'm not the one who should be caring for the kids all day long while you're going on this boat ride. This is not fair. And at that point in time, I was realizing as I'm saying this, like, I'm not even on the highest timeline at this point of view. I am actually dipping down into third dimension when I should have just sat there and said, okay, let's just see what happens. Because at that point, if I was on the higher timeline and seeing what was going to happen next, I wouldn't have had it get all excited, right? So what happens is, long story short, is he does not wind up going on the boat because it's actually too late by the time he gets at home from work and the office. So it's actually too late to go on the boat. So what happens is he has to drive, to somewhere else in Nassau to pick up something. It was a wash machine. He's picking up a wash machine for the job. And what happens is he's like, oh, do you want to go for a ride to Nassau to pick up the washing machine? I said, I really don't want to, but you can bring the kids with you. And he's like, oh, so now I can bring the kids with me. And it all kind of turned back on me at that point in time. And then I realized, I'm like, oh, wow, that's interesting. Look what I just created. Okay. Look what I just created. I just created all this all this that did not need to be created at that point in time to come back to me. So this is how it works. If we are not in the moment, if we are not sitting here knowing what we're creating, understanding what we're creating, it comes back and it comes back quickly. And at that moment in time, it didn't feel so good. Okay. It felt icky. It felt uncomfortable. It felt just like, wow, I am the creator of all. And I'm like, I really have to be a better creator. I'm like, I really have to sit here and I really have to be very conscious of what I'm creating, was my first thought. And, I'm like, okay, so this happened. I'm not going to argue about it. I'm just going to let it go because I don't want to create more discourse, okay, throughout the mix. And also, I want to be on the highest timeline. So that happened. And I've been, like I said, I've been noticing with these energies that are so high that also there are miscreations that are happening. And let me explain to you what a miscreation is. So what happened was, I'll tell you another little story. I have a pool in my backyard and I saw that the water level was low. So I decided, oh, it's a great day. Let me just, put the hose in the pool. So I walked away for a couple hours. I come back to it. It's still not high enough because you know how long it takes to fill a pool. Well, I kind of forgot about it. Okay. I went out shopping. I went out doing stuff. I was now back to like 6 or 8 hours later, and the water is still running. My husband goes like this to me at night. He goes, "Oh, what's that noise? Do I hear water?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, I left the water running." Okay. I go outside. The pool is all the way to the top. I'm like, "Oh my goodness, shut off the water." And he's like, "What happened?" Like, I left the water running. And he's like, "You're kidding me, right?" I'm like, "No." And then at that point in time, I'm thinking to myself, "Oh my goodness, I just created a miscreation." Instead of like sitting there and stopping the water when I should have, like right before I left the house to go do my grocery shopping. No, I left it running all day long. So, what does that mean for the miscreation? What did I have to do next? Well, yes, I had to go to Walmart the following day to pick up the pool salt, because at this point in time, I have to fix the miscreation, not him. I have to fix the miscreation because it's off my timeline. I have to fix it. So I went to Walmart, 11 bags of salt, pouring it all in by myself. And as I'm doing this, like, let me just tell you something. It was hot. I was cranky. I was not happy, but I'm saying to myself, well, I did this. I did this miscreation. I have to get back on track. I have to fix it. So anytime there's a miscreation, we really have to try and fix it. We don't want to be in our heads too much. We don't want to sit here and create situations that don't need to be created. Any kind of situation that would be considered a miscreation. We don't want to put things out into the universe that should not be there. We don't want to ill thoughts or anything like that. We don't want to put it out there, because what happens is negative energy comes back, as you heard in the first story. And then, of course, my miscreation, which I just told you in this story. And listen, I am not perfect. I am a work in progress. I am working on myself every single day. And, I've been working very, very hard to get to the point where I'm at. I want to get to the point where I have no miscreations. I want to get to the point where I have no doubt in my mind that my day is going with ease, because I am creating it all. And let me tell you something, once you get in the habit of just creating on those higher timelines and making those better choices, you're going to see how easy it is to navigate through your life. You're going to find out that things just happen. For me, I can see people's quantum fields. And for me, if I look at somebody, it looks like a big cloud hanging around them, if you could just imagine that. And then like everything's hanging out. Like for instance, like I look at my friend, I go in, I look at her and I see like a car, a white Jeep hanging out, on the side of her head. I'm like, "Oh, you waiting for a white Jeep?" She's like, "Yes, that's so funny that you said that. I need to get a new car." Okay. I've run into another person. I see an, an apartment, hanging out right next to them. And, I'm like, "Oh, so you're looking for a new apartment?" "Yes." I'm like, "Well, it's going to come to you if you just, relax." Okay. That's the quantum field. Now, the quantum field wants to give you everything that you want, because we all, before we came here, we all set up this, I would say it's like Santa Claus, he has that big bag of goodies. Well, we all made our lists. Okay, we want this, we want that, we want that. But unfortunately, it's not going to come into our field until we're ready. And what does that mean? That we have to hit that vibration, we have to hit that level. So that's when things actually come in. So in order to do that, we have to be positive. We have to be on our we have to be on our timeline. We have to really be in the moment. We have to be cautious of what we're doing, what we're saying, because we are creating it all. And like I said, I told you those two stories. It's so important to just watch what you do. And it's so funny is once you start to, I would say, like shift and take on this new way of just adapting to life, you're going to find that the people around you are also going to follow, and they're going to actually come in a lot more positive. You're going to find that they're going to be more helpful. You're going to find that they're even like a lot more joyous than they ever were, because that's how it works. Everybody coming into your reality has to be on the same page, okay? They all have to be experiencing that same level of joy, okay? Nobody can come into your reality and not be on that same level. So people who are not on that same level are going to be, you know, they're going to be pushed out, or they're just going to have to, you know, bring themselves up. It's funny also because sometimes when I'm around friends and family, you know, you can just read them, you know, you can read where they're at. And like I said, since I've been doing this journey and on my way doing my work, I've even noticed, you know, family members coming in and, you know, being a lot more friendly than they ever were. And I'm like, wow, like the work really works. As long as you're conscious of what you're doing and what you're saying, and like I said, what you're putting out there, you're really going to see that other people are going to come in into your reality, and they're going to really have that same level of joy. Like they're just going to be like such friendly individuals. They're really going to be very helpful. And it's all about us just keeping our cool, being calm, being friendly, being helpful, you know, not getting upset, and just really trying to make the best choices. I tell people all the time, it's all about making the best choices. Choices when it comes to, you know, how you're going to react, choices when it comes to seeing somebody where they're at. Okay, let me give you another example. My mother, she is, she's had a hard life, I guess you can say. She, you know, looks at me in the sense where like I had things that she never had. She struggles in her life, and you know, she really can be, I guess, abrasive at times, you know, not the best person to talk to, because you know, she could be negative, she can be uh she wants always to manipulate people, and also at times she's just not friendly. But I have learned to just see her for who she is, and to understand that, you know, this is her hurt shining through. And obviously, she can't do any better at this moment in time. So I love her for her. And I kind of just take it with a grain of salt, whatever she's saying. You know, if you ever heard of that. I really try not to judge her as much as I want to at times, because, you know, it's not the right thing to do. And just because she's judging me doesn't mean that the judgment is really on me. I mean, if I look at it, she's judging herself. She's just unhappy with her situation. And she's just unhappy with herself and what she created and so forth. But sometimes people are not ready to hear that they created their own living situation. They're not ready to hear that. So I don't really bring that to the forefront with her. I kind of just, you know, listen to her, offer help when needed, and just let her be, because there's not much more I can do in this situation, because she is who she is, and she's not ready to ascend her consciousness as much as I am. So, you know, I have to love her where she's at, and that's the biggest thing we can do. And that goes with the same thing of just being positive, like I was saying earlier. Sometimes we just have to just understand that people are doing the best they can. You know, if somebody's lashing out on you, maybe it's not even about you. Maybe it's really about them, because they're just, you know, for whatever reason in that moment, they're angry, they're irritated, and they're not having a good day. So best thing to do at that point in time is to hold light and space for them, because they can't do any better at that point in time. I've come to realize that it's not easy. It's not easy sometimes shifting your way of thinking. There's been many times in my life with other things that have occurred, and I just like kind of drop into my heart center. I'm like, just breathe, just let it go, because this is how it is, and you really can't change it at that point in time. You really just need to just let it go. And also then I tell myself that this is happening for a reason, for me to go inside and, excuse me, to move forward. So there's a lot more work that I have to do, and I feel that as I go along this journey, that like my challenges have gotten harder and harder. And there are things that like I'm finding more and more things that I have to let go. I'm finding more and more things that I have to work on. And I'm also realizing that I don't need to know all the answers. Okay, that's another thing. I'm pretty impatient. I like to know all the answers. And I've learned the hard way that sometimes you're not going to know all the answers. So at times I have to just pull myself back and realize that I might not know everything right now. Maybe I'll get the answer in a day or two, maybe a week, or maybe I won't, and that's okay. But we just have to just let it go and just be ourselves. And another little tidbit I'm going to add here is, have you ever heard the Disney song, Let It Go, Let It Go? Well, yeah, I'm constantly like playing that in my head all the time. Let It Go, the Disney theme song, because it taught also what happens for me is sometimes I'll be so much in my head, well, all of a sudden my right hip will start hurting. And that usually means that I'm a fear of the future, which can be true because a lot of times I am thinking about the future. Okay. And what did I just tell you earlier in this YouTube video? We have to be in the moment. So I too catch myself and I have to pull myself back and I have to change my way of thinking. And I get it. So this is why I'm putting out this video, because I am a work in progress as well. I am working on stopping my mind from running rapid, running amok, and sitting there and displacing and putting emotions that don't belong into my hip. Okay, about fears of the future, and then also fears in general, wherever else they're gonna go, which would be an organ that probably is the weakest for me. So I am working on that at this point in time. I'm going to be honest with you, I have not healed my right hip with the future thoughts, but I am still working on it every day. I do work on relieving that pain because, like I said, I do not need to be in control of what's to come. But in order to do that, in order to heal that pain, we have to be in the moment. We have to stop thinking of the future. We have to stop thinking about what's to come. We have to stop thinking of having all the answers. And we just have to be ourselves in that moment. And we just, we need to stop being the ones to have an opinion. We have to stop being the people that have to comment on everything, because, it just, you really don't need to comment on everything. There's no need. If it's not affecting you, you really don't need to. Just listen to it and let it go, because it doesn't belong in your field. It doesn't belong in your body. It doesn't belong anywhere near you. So anything that you're hearing, wherever it might be, and if it's not directly happening to you, let it go. Okay? Because there's no need to put it in your field. We need to step away from placing things in our field. We need to learn that it's all about us. It's all about you. It's about me. It's about our sovereignty. And that is all. Well, thank you for listening to my video, and I will be putting out more. Have a wonderful day.